Okay. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in again. So today we are going to focus mostly um, on the deep learning as well as on one of the aspect of it, like robotics, right? So we do have we in the last week we have covered few things like what is AI, right? What are the basic glossaries? Then we have covered some bit of AI dimensions like right, some of the AI dimensions like machine learning, right, deep learning. We gave you some idea about that, like what is computer vision, right? What are the robotics and the NLP. However, we could only get you or give you some we could only give you the details about the machine learning. So today predominantly we'll be focusing on the deep learning, right, and to some extent on the robotics or the computer vision, but we'll not to cover, right, we are not here to cover everything today, because in that case you will not be able to grasp all, because this is a new subject to all of you, so you may not be able to grasp everything. Okay, those who are not talking, can you go on mute, please? Thank you. Okay, so first I would like to just let me just unshare, I think. Okay, yeah, so let me just share the screen with sound so that you can see some very interesting, you can watch some interesting videos. Hope, can anyone confirm that you are able to see my screen?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. So once I play the video, just let me know whether you're able to hear the audio also or not, right?
Main menu, weather. Welcome to John Deere Farm Site. Field order, please prioritize. Work order, confirmed. Alert, irrigation. Irrigation system initiating. Incoming call.
Hi, Terry. We're finishing up your planter service. You'll be ready today.
Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Alert, weather. Alert, weather. Files sent. Alert, row crop tractor 14 has stopped. Message, dealer technician ETA, 32 minutes.
Now, I'm sure like you like the video and have seen that how the advancement is happening. Now you might be wondering that when this video was created, is it created in the recent past, maybe 2 years, 3 years, like when the AI started coming to us as a disruption or a new way of working? No, I have been playing this video for the last 10 years in my different, right, in leadership discussion session or the training session or the consulting session. So the intent of showing this video is AI has not, I mean, AI is not new. Maybe it is new to us because it has created that kind of disruption, right, in the IT industry, especially, right, in all other domains as well. but it has been there and it was working on the ground. In fact, a lot of games that you are seeing today, in fact, you are playing, all those things, those augmenting reality, the movies which are being made, those are based on the AI. Now, you are seeing there are 5 dimensions, right, shown here. Can any one of you tell me that, okay, which dimension is applicable here? Not a single, I mean, it's not that it is only a single thing which is applicable here. So it's a mix of everything, but with having different type of weightage. So whenever someone was scanning that crop, it was kind of a computer vision, right? Or a image to image recognition. So whenever the robotics was there, like robotics was also there, like for taking some decision, you will have seen that augmenting reality as well. Sometime whenever someone was speaking, right, that information was kind of fade. You have seen some of the file transfer also, which is happening automatically. Now, some of the things you have seen that the deep learning is also working as a neural network, that it is now able to take the decision. Like when the message came, like the tractor they stopped, when he pressed some, so immediately the call was made, not by him but by an automated system. And also from there also, like they have received a response that the ETA, the expected time of accomplishment, is 32 minutes. So everything was kind of getting automated. And needless to mention that underlying this, there had been different type of data, structured data, unstructured data, right? Labeled data, unlabeled data. A huge amount of data analytics is being played right underneath. Now, I would like to again show you some very interesting shots which I have just gathered for you, right, to show you some interest. Now, first thing first. So let me just play this one. Right? So now question is, this is fantastic, right? This may be right very much applicable in US or UK for that matter, right? But can we really do it in India? Can we do it in Kolkata? Can we do it in Bangalore? Whenever we are in a busy road, city road, can we apply this autonomous vehicle? So these are all experimentation. These are all our expectations, right, which we are having in mind. And there are a lot of experience. And I'm sure, like recently, I've heard about the Gartner report that a lot of big companies have started bringing back, like whom they have laid off in the recent past. They started bringing them back because they are thinking, no, AI is not going to work. It is giving us a lot of faulty product, lot of buggy products. So human intelligence is still not replaceable. We are still bringing a lot of logical sense. We are still bringing lot of algorithm, right, which is coming directly from our brain, which is completely irreplaceable. Now, where can we do? Right, I can show you one of the scenario, which is a kind of repetitive task. Right. So this is where we are using the robotics, where we can make use of the make use of the robots, or make use of the different type of the machines, right, where we are putting in the robotics logic or robotics algorithm, so that we can avoid, right, some of the repetitive tasks, right. So we want to keep the human brain for really intelligent tasks, but some of the things, right, the trivial one, which can be easily replaced by robots, we are going to use that. I'm sure like all of you have heard about deepfakes, correct? Now, what is deepfakes? Let's hear it out.
Second youngest son. He's suggesting it came out of nowhere. What we subsequently learned is it may have come from the former president or his legal team acting in bad faith. This is a deepfake example of what is possible with powerful computer and editing. It took around 72 hours to create this example from scratch using extremely powerful GPU. It could be improved with more computing time, but 90% of people cannot tell the difference.
So have you been able to identify any difference? It's as good as the original one. In fact, sometimes it is having a lot more clarity. Now, these days, especially, right, in the political area, right, in the politics, especially, this is being done in a very, so an audio clip is being shared. Now, once it is shared, right, immediately it creates a havoc, it creates an impact. Now, there will be investigation, there will be a lot of analysis being done on that. But after that, it may be proved at later point in time through the cyber security team that this was not his voice, it was an AI generated. But by the time the damage is being made, because it is going to be viral, and everyone is having right now the smartphone in their own hand. So by the time it is reaching to the kind of urban area, right, or rural areas, right, the damage is already done. Correct. So it is very, very difficult. In fact, it is very important for the students not to share too many photos in the social media, because you never know like what is going to happen. Right. Now, another thing I would like to share, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with, but now you can see this is another very great example of, see, right? So we have been seeing this picture for right our lifetime, and this is one of the greatest picture. But no one have even thought like it can be extended further. Now you are not seeing any differences, right, in that, like whenever the Mona Lisa is speaking, Mona Lisa is talking, Mona Lisa is smiling, Mona Lisa is, right, doing some activity, right? Because she was always in our dream, in back of our mind. But now we are seeing, right, through this augmenting reality and with some of the AI algorithms, we are making her speak, we are making her smile, we are making her doing some activity. Right? So enough of shorts. Now let's get back to right some of the learning also, right? So for which we all are here. So I would like to quickly take you to the right. Let's cover the deep learning today. Now, what is the deep learning? Now, deep learning is a special class of machine learning that uses the neural network. So typically we talk about that when we define the artificial intelligence, we say the artificial intelligence mimics the human intelligence. But when we talk about deep learning, we say the deep learning mimics human brain. So neural network tries to simulate the way the human brain works. Now, till what extent it has been successful, it's still a debate. It's still a research. But that is the intent of the deep learning. How can we mimic? How can you right map the exactly the way the human brain works? But still, I would say we have not got that level of right success. Now, there are quite a few right techniques right used under, and this is one of the very deep, as it says also. This is one of the very complex learning process. I mean, learning algorithm in AI. Now, I don't want to get into too much of right examples. I mean, too much of detailing of all the area, because that may be a very theoretical session. But I would like to share with you some of very interesting one. One is CNN, that is convolutional network neural network. Second is a recurrent or recursive neural network, and then GAN, right, which we are going to learn in the upcoming slide. Now, some of the examples where deep learning is used in a very right detailed manner or a very heavier manner is the self-driven car by Tesla. So whenever the runtime decision makings are done, object detection and taking a runtime decision and many other things, as you have seen, deep learning is widely used. Now, virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa, now you may be giving them an instruction to do something, but now these days, these have been so advanced that even if you put an obstacle, right, it should be able to utilize his or her own intelligence and to bypass that and still do your work. That is where the intelligence comes into picture. So decision making, runtime decision making, it's not all about information being fed, and based on that knowledge, that cognitive learning, it starts processing a lot of things. But we are trying to feed in right some algorithms so that it can take some prompt action accordingly without being fed with a lot of data or information. And how close is that to the human being, right? That is something is still a kind of research. Now, image and speech recognition. Now, whenever you are talking, in fact, you can use the Zoom caption also. So when I'm talking, right, immediately it is creating a caption out of it. Now, till what accuracy, that depends on the accent. They depend on who is speaking. Now I have got one of my friend here, Sanjeev, like he created one video few days back. It's a real time example, I'm telling you. And he shared that video with me and asked for a feedback. It was a promotional activity for his one of his product. So the lady was very good, but naturally, what happens is typically especially in the eastern side of the India, right? Our accent is little different. I mean, since we studied in our right the basic vernacular like Bengali and etc. So at some point in time, on an average, like their speaking skill is not that great, or maybe their accent is still little problem. Pronunciations are not that good. So I told him, right, you have the script. He said, yeah, I have the script. Why don't you make use of AI then? AI will generate the audio for you. In fact, you can use the AI avatar, right, with and typically still for our colonial mindset, we are very much, right, thinking if a white color person is actually speaking with a kind of British accent or US accent, that is more acceptable for us than a human, right, from the kind of West Bengal or the nearby area is talking, or maybe an Indian to be for that matter. Still, that is a perception. And he did that. And then he shared with me. I said, now you are seeing the difference. Correct? Recommendation system, we have talked a lot, so I'll skip it for now. So let's go into the convolution neural network. So they are a class of deep neural network primarily designed for analyzing visual imagery. Now, some of the great examples like image classification, identifying objects with the images. Now, the other day, I was giving an example of an apple, right? You are showing continuously. In fact, I have that video also today. I'll share those shorts later point in time. So you can show to a machine that, okay, it's a red apple, red apple, red apple, red apple, different size. But whenever you're showing a green apple, it is not able to identify. So how can we build that algorithm? Or maybe the cats, you know that very well. The cat is a very good example because it has got different shape, different type of colors, right? Different type of look and feel, different type of breeds. But it is having some limitations. So the way you feed the data, it should be able to understand that, okay, all the images. So you can probably bring different type of cats in front of the right machine, and it will scan and it will store that in the image, so that if whenever you are coming in, it will try to not exactly with the same right borderline picture, etc., but to some extent they have a kind of algorithm. If let's say 70% of the pattern is matching with the the picture that we are bringing in, it should be able to identify that. Think about DigiYatra. I'm sure those who are traveling these days using DigiYatra. So when the picture is actually captured, that time the way how you are looking into the camera, and whenever you are in the security gate, the way you are looking at the camera is the same pose or the same position or the same way you are looking at the camera? Of course not. So now, till what percentage of similarity it is trying to give us, we don't know. But somehow it is able to predict with some pattern matching that, yes, this is Shubhabrata Pal and he is entering, so allow him to go. Next is object detection, which is mostly used in the kind of self-driving car. Whenever there is a zebra crossing, right? Whenever there is a pedestrian, it should immediately slow down. In fact, I've seen that, not today, I'm talking about 2019 in some of the Toyota cars. So when something is coming in near to us, it start beeping, start giving you some warning signal. It's not an it's not a self-driving car though, but still it is giving us a lot of signals. So already, right, people have started there had been a lot of advancement in the past, right, 20 years. Now, facial recognition, we already talked about. Let's come to the medical imaging analysis. Now, I told you the other day that it may not be able, AI is not a doctor. It's not going to prescribe you the medicine. But when the enormous amount of images are fed to the kind of, let's say, diagnostic center, and whenever they are under tremendous pressure, at least the trivial things, right, they should be able to identify and come up with a report. But whenever they are finding a patch or something, some tumor, etc., at least it should detect, and then it should be able to identify, okay, this is requiring a further investigation. Typically what we do in the airport scanner. So whenever they're finding a suspecting right object in your right, it identifies. It is not able to analyze still, but now it has been automated. You know that it will just move to the next tray and it will go to the right security desk. The next thing is the recurrent neural network. They are a class of artificial neural network designed to process the sequential data where the order of the elements is very important. Especially this is, whenever we are going to talk about the NLP later point in time, you will see that NLP is a very special class of RNN. The time series forecasting, especially this is used for the stock pricing because they have a pattern. Like many people will talk about candlestick pattern, etc., etc. Now, where are these coming from? So from the historical data, they are identifying like what is that candlestick pattern. So okay, if it is happening in this way, there is a possibility that it might go up. So based on that, they can forecast that okay, this stock price may go. This has been the pattern for the last few years. Now, same thing for the weather forecasting. So whenever they are seeing something happening, right, based on that, they can forecast, okay, there is a possibility. And of course, like whenever you are in the US, the forecasting is so prompt, so crisp and clear that everyone just follows that blindly. Okay, what is AccuWeather saying? What is that app saying? And based on that, they will carry the umbrella. And if they are carrying the umbrella, you can be rest assured that definitely is going to rain. Whenever there is a snowfall, they'll get prepared and they'll go accordingly. It's not that they're coming unprepared. Now, video analysis, CCTV analysis of these things are very, very important. Again, now sometimes it may so happen that, okay, in a CCTV analysis especially, that, okay, you are getting a footage, you are getting the first, maybe few seconds after that it is cut, maybe that portion is cut, and then again it is starting. So they should be able to predict, or maybe they can also tell you that if you are cutting and stitching, they will say, no, this portion is taken in a different way, this portion is taken in a different way. There is no sequence, there is no match, the pattern is not matching. So they should be able to identify the areas of surrounding, right, where there is a mismatch. In a 2-3 second also, you can change everything. In fact, I have seen that happening in a lot of viral videos. Sometimes like the Kolkata Ma flyover, they are forecasting, but it is actually in Kanpur happening. Sometimes in UP, it is published as a kind of UP, but we are still seeing that Ma flyover and the ITC Royal in the background, but they are promoting it as a UP. Happens. And the last thing for today is called the GAN, that is the Generative Adversarial Network. So it's a very interesting thing. We are working with two type of things here. One, we are taking the random noise as an input and try to generate start considering it as a real data. Now we are coming up with a because in the noise, you know that, right? In the noise, there is a little bit of information and little bit rest of the things are kind of unwanted information. So how can we extract the real information and remove that fake information? That is what is coming from the GAN, or the Generative Adversarial Network. Now, what are the real-time examples of deep learning? Realistic image generation, creating a highly convincing image for the faces, landscape, and the object that own. In fact, all of us are kind of these days, what are we doing? We are creating a lot of birthday cards, birthday cakes, correct? Using the kind of AI. They are very, very close. Like I can say, okay, happy birthday, Shagnik. Now, where will I find that picture? But through that image generator, I can easily find it. Right? So image to image translation. Now, I have shown you the kind of scene, shown you the scene of that Mona Lisa. Again, satellite picture that we are getting, how can we interpret that? And then how can we make it a kind of more legible picture? Because the satellite pictures can only be understood by some of the few scientists. But we common people may not be able to understand. So how can we convert? Now, photos to paintings, and again, on the vice versa. Now, also, like, as you have seen that, like, how can I convert a series of photos into a kind of video clip? That is also possible. Sometimes these days, you know that very well, that we are having some old photos, maybe our parents, analog photo of their wedding, right? There, some of our old celebration, but using these things, it will be as good as a digital print. And you know that there are a lot of photo restoration, film restorations are happening with more bright color, etc. A lot of black and white photos are now converted into colors using these techniques. Now, data augmentation, augmenting reality, now these are all happening these days. Defects, right? We have shown you the example. Now there had been, right, n number of studies of the defects. I don't want to get into that, but you all know, I'm sure you are aware of it. So you have to be very aware of the market is, I mean, the scenario is changing, the social, right, awareness. People are becoming very, very reactive and agitating, right? So they can do anytime anything, right? If something is not coming in their way. And last but not the least, now these days, earlier, if you remember, like we used to have a police artists, right, in every, right, in every police station. Based on the description, they were using the image. They were drawing the image in hand. Now today you can just speak automatically, right? It'll start generating the image. Maybe you can do a little bit of curating out there. So finding the criminals is becoming also very easy these days. It is very difficult to hide. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I can talk a lot, but I just wanted to take any of your opinion, or any of your personal experience of the deep learning in the real time. Anyone wants to share in your respective industry or area, right? How you have seen that happening, or maybe any of your personal experience where you get fooled, right, out of these deep learning examples. Anyone? Or maybe how you have used that, how you have seen that being used. No one wants to talk. Hope I was audible.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay. Maybe in that case, I can play like some more videos, right? Some more shots, right? We have seen that. Yes. It's a great example. I forgot to tell you about. In fact, I was supposed to cover that in the robotics. Now, in the robotics, apart from the robotic surgery, a lot of these are called agro robots. There are different type of robots. Now, I'm not talking about humanoid for that moment. For that moment, you'll be surprised. Like you can feel them, right? Everything is like human, like the dolls, correct? So we are not getting there, but I would like to share you this one. Right? So as you see that, like they can do it relentlessly, right? Without stopping and with so much of precision. Like whenever we are doing it in a human, I mean, we are doing it, we get tired, etc. But these are robots. And it is fed with some of the information that if they are not finding that specific breed of the crop, it may not cut. That level of intelligence is also fed. So in this way, like if you can find a typically what happens in the tea gardens, think about it. In the tea gardens, I'm sure you have seen that the lot of tree plants, and in between there are some big, big bushy trees. Because the tea gardens are expected to be in a little shadow, not under uh, um, deep, right, sunlight or bright sunlight. So once it is, first of all, it is not cutting the kind of, or maybe you can say about um, trimming the tree also, because the tea plants need to be trimmed every year. Now, whenever it comes to, let's say we are using a robot, whenever it comes to the main tree, it should not trim that also. So that information is kind of fed there. So here they can use their human intelligence, right? The deep learning technique. Now, this was the example I was talking about, right, of the object detection. How can they do it? Right. So this is the way they are doing a lot of different, taking this different type of apple of different shapes or different colors and making it or getting the kind of machine ready so that it can identify that if you bring a kind of watermelon, it will accept it. Now, I don't know whether I have cleared that. Yeah, this is another very interesting one. In fact, now these days, right, I'm worrying like whether big companies starting with T, right, will use this moving forward. Now these days, like we may be right swiping in, swiping out in 15 minutes and staying there, but now you never know what might happen. That it might be actually tracking you, right? Okay, this guy is entering till how long it is staying, right? And moving out. Now, these, you know that very well, that you can share your card, right? Tailgating you can do. But unless and until as a real person you are doing it, right, it will not. Right? So these are also some of the challenging. So people counting. Right? Now, in I'm sure you have seen that in different zoo or stadium, they can also tell you exactly the number of spectators. It is 65,932. One could be barcode scanning, if that is a possibility. Another could be whenever they are going in, right, they take a picture. Sometimes especially in Europe and other area. So automatically it is counted separate, or maybe whenever you are buying it, or maybe there is a possibility that okay, they should be scanning you, right, and you can do that. Now these are all good hunky dory stories. Now, that does that mean that we are always having some hunky dory stories and there is no failures? There are enormous amount of failure stories. In fact, there are more failure stories than the success stories, to be very honest. Now, especially these Digiyatra and other things fails typically with the Northeast people, where their eyes are very, very small. Now, there are a lot of situations like where we are biased with our information, right? They are considering a special, I would say, colored people, especially in US, that okay, these are good, and they have a by default, right, segregation. These are good, these are bad. In fact, if you find this kind of pattern in hiring also, it may not, because it's the human part, the empathy connect, like these are all not there. Those are missing out. So before and that is one of the reasons still the customers are skeptical, because our clients, whenever they are selling a product, they are not going to differentiate who is my customer, from which religion, from which color, from which race they are coming, but ultimately they are right purchasing my product, and that is adding to my revenue. Now, if my system is not able to show that empathy with all my customers, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail badly. So that's the reason in the recent Gartner report, it's not a very, I would say, optimistic story they are projecting. In fact, many organizations, those who immediately react on, because there are some of the organizations who are working always on the reactive mode. They always go with the flow. They don't wait. Immediately something comes in, they try to adopt. But there are certain who are ready to take that risk for some time and see that okay, where is the market, how the market is moving, and they'll take an action accordingly. Remember during the nano story, everybody was kind of measuring the water level, that how nano is getting. Forget about the political part, political disturbance part. But why no other automobile manufacturer that time came up with an alternate model? Because had nano been successful, it would have been a historical revolution, right, in the automobile industry. But people waited. Now it's a different story altogether. It failed for a wrong reason. But most of the time, still there are a lot of why not every car manufacturers are going wildly with EV? Only Tata is going in India, but why not others? To some extent, Mahindra also, or maybe the other companies are coming up with one model or one variant as an EV variant. But why they are not going big? Because still they are measuring, because typically it's a perception, even though the battery strength and other things are doing very good, but you are not going to get a lot of charging station once you go outside. Go outskirts. It is good for the city, but still we are not yet there, right, in terms of the infrastructure. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to me. If anyone has anything to share, feel free. Otherwise, maybe we'll wind up for today. Okay.
Good morning, Kostav here.
Thank you. Tell me.